Game sound, Sifu play. London will be starting on the CT side. And Endpoint are charging up Banana. Astro's got his smoke down. Got a 5-7 as well. So I love to see this, a CZ or a 5-7. Basically, if you're expecting a numbers game in your direction on the CT side, one of those can help deal with the situation. 20 bullets is pretty good, but 3 Ts is pretty good as well, moving up the mid position. That leaves Soulcast and Astro alone, separated from each other. Soulcast with 6 HP, just trying to stay alive.
Yeah, not looking too good, is it, here, really? I mean, it was a fairly good read from London. They play 1 at B, 1 smoke goes down, and Endpoint react perfectly for London. They just, you know, leave Banana and fly up mid straight into the 4-man stack, but no one really peeking down middle. I think it allows those Glocks to get up close and personal, which is obviously what they like to do. And yeah, 4 very quick kills coming in. Endpoint with a very dominant pistol yet again. It seems T-side pistols are pretty OP here.
Yeah, just abusing the numbers. The trade game, one of the most important tenets of a T side is just having the numbers. Wherever you choose to push, you're going to have more people than a CT side in most cases. So you'll just play the trade game. You kill me, he kills you. We win this map control, and then life is worse for you. Standard stuff. So you thought that you think that the T side will be dominant. Endpoint is starting on the T side, so that's a pretty good start for them if it is to prove to be true.
Yeah, I think just because Endpoint are sort of like a slower team and they are very default heavy, I kind of expect them to be able to punish any sort of aggression that London may employ early into the rounds on that CT side.
5 smoke grenades on the force buy for London Esports. We love to see it. Can they use them well? Was it? I don't recall if it was London or Endpoint who did the second round smoke grenade play on Inferno yesterday.
It was London.
It was London. Okay, well, I would imagine that Endpoint will be better equipped to deal with this. There is a HE, that is an indicator of what may come for Endpoint in this round, excuse me. And still no smokes have been deployed. Now, Endpoint are doing a better job than the team we saw yesterday of trying to draw out these smoke grenades. So we see two used towards A, just over the minute mark.
Yeah, it seems kind of like you know what Dan talks about, like the protocols from Endpoint. The general default of how to just move through a round is much cleaner, a lot more respect, and not just, you know, talking things over. They're actually kind of being proactive and making moves across the map, keeping the CTs guessing a little bit. Astro going to spot out a fair few of them at long as well. Pulse will start to strike, and you know that distraction play in the apartments to draw the crosshairs. Meanwhile, the rest of the rifles and things are coming up towards long now, but the headshot angle can be a little bit pesky. Link does get dealt with pretty quickly. However, Astro goes unchecked, but not able to convert any kills. It will be into a 5-on-2. It's those 2 players from B that have just got to save.
Yeah, that's a much better example for the teams who lost yesterday of how to deal with a situation such as this. It always reminds me of the... it was a common strat in North America in the days of iBuyPower and others, where they would have... Sometimes on an Antigua round, everybody would just walk up the arch position together, but they put 3 people there, and once they're in position, they clear out, make sure there's no flanks in CT spawn. Still have reasonable time on the clock, 30 seconds, and then they push short and long at the same time. They've got a crossfire. It limits where the CTs can hide on the A bomb site, so London are not able to abuse the CZs and the smokes as they otherwise might. Good pressure throughout the round from Endpoint. And again, they were not slaves to the smoke grenades of London Esports. So that is a plus for them. 2 players on CZ, still dangerous for Endpoint, so they can't take this round for granted. But really, we're looking towards the buy from London Esports in the next round.
Still a bit of a chance here. You know, you can never write off the pistols, especially on Inferno. Could work out for them. Play a bit of a stack. We've seen a lot of this creeping into the scene, you know, where you stack like mid, or there's one on long that I quite like, where you sit on top of the pallet. I think that's quite effective at times, but just looking to do a bit of damage, you know, keep the economy modest of Endpoint going into this next rifle round. Not a great deal of action so far, just very slowly once again. Moving up and down the site, it's Thomas, as per usual, making all the noise over on B, sending the feelers out there, see if he can spot anything.
I think that Molotov was supposed to go behind New Box, so that's one to watch for the demo. So Pulse's job at the beginning is just to keep an eye on anybody peeking from the balcony, anybody pushing through the apartments. You'll often see Rops in a position like that as well for Mouse Sports, where if his team push towards the B-bomb site, then he'll just be holding the rotation or cutting off people rotating from the site from the balcony position. So far, so good for Endpoint. Still making bonus money with these MAC-10s as well, which is something that you want to avoid when you're London Esports, but they're not really going to have that choice. So sometimes in an eco run like this, you'll just see CTs trying to hide so as not to give these MAC-10s money. A similar situation you can sometimes see when the Ts are on eco. They may just run into a Molotov to die to give a CT side the minimum kill bonus possible.
Yeah, the little things can make the biggest differences. I suppose with being from the UK, as the slogan goes, every little helps.
Jesus Christ. Astro's on the AWP. Hopefully he's going to have a better time of things than he did on the previous map. I think it was only the 8 kills. I do not expect that to be the case here, especially starting on the CT side where the sniping will be somewhat easier than the T side. And on Inferno yesterday, we didn't see so much success with T snipers. So we'll see what he can do. Robin will continue with the MAC-10 for now. Only 2 players lacking helmets. Lazar, he could be lining up a smoke for the short position, although if he jumps, then it could be for the A site itself. There we go, pop flash to burst out of boiler perhaps. And he'll show some presence towards the B bomb site. In the meantime, Execute's coming in from Endpoint. Stanley with the 2-man transfer, nice for him. There's a kill from Astro as well. Support flashbang for his teammate, but Link's already got the kill. That leaves Lazar alone, 1 versus 4. At a minimum, he needs to do more damage, take more weapons away. As you can see, Endpoint can still buy in the next round, so he's got to make this expensive for London. Need less money in the wallet when he moves on, looking for the 180, looking for the trade fraggers. He's got himself another 1v1, he won't win it though, so 3 players survive for London. They'll pick up the AWP and some AKs, not a shabby round for them.
Yeah, good reads, I suppose, from Luzzer as to where the players were coming from, but unfortunately, just not able to connect the shots. It's a deadly crossfire. You know, they deal with Stanley, and then there's still Lincoln at pit. Astro, meanwhile, also on that AWP. A little bit missing for London on overpass, so it's good for him to get off to a strong start, a confident start on the AWP hit. We talked about the importance of AWPers for a lot of these teams across the weekend. I think Astro certainly is one of them. Not quite as big as, you know, Swaggy of yesterday and Luzzer here on Endpoint, but don't want him to be dead weight. Speaking of, he's the first one to go down here, so not a great start for him coming into this round, as Endpoint once again have a lot of control of this A site. Robin has snuck in towards CT, completely catching Soulcast off guard. Can cut off the second rotation to come back through, and now that he has this control, they're actually going to move back towards Banana, leaving Pulse in the apartments, of course. So they're going to have to start to read into this fact, you know, where these players like to play from on the Endpoint side, because London, it looks like they're about to get themselves reset. Link probably just going to, you know, look to save. Even that might be a little bit difficult for him with Pulse still lurking about. But Endpoint, bit of a blessing in disguise for them losing that previous round, as they'll manage to get themselves the reset round.
Oh, in the face, baby! Well, no AWP for you. And now Endpoint, at this point, need to be targeting like a 7-1 scoreline. But again, as you mentioned, it seems they know who's playing where, and that will help make their decision. Great play from Robin. That is awesome.
Nasty.
That was juicy. The tasers are out again. We saw a tase attempt in connector, which makes perfect sense, to be honest, because if the T's there go in there, you're going to have super close engagement, just like that one from Eccles. So while it does seem gimmicky and you don't really get anything for the kill, it does take money away from your opponent. So he's using them in the best positions possible. Pretty cheap.
Hey, let's get it. Soulcast with the tase. I mean, they saw one, they weren't expecting the second, and that plays into the hands of Soulcast, but it's kind of, like you say, I suppose at this sort of early stage, it's not too bad. If Endpoint had crazy amounts of money, it's not really going to do anything for you. But I'm not sure, like, Eccles, as we'll see in the next round, didn't have a great deal of money to begin with, and then essentially just wasted $200, which can make a bit of a difference. But I suppose they're going for another eco here, not going to hedge their bets. And he's back in. He wants himself a Taze. He's really, really, really trying. Really trying.
I'd be worried about lopsided halves in this map in particular, just because both teams will know how to play in the basics of Inferno, whereas over past the CT basics for both teams were kind of lost. Oh, hello. So for me, this is very, very worrying if you're London, to find it's so difficult right now to find any footing, because Endpoint are looking really good. And I think that if they're getting towards 10 rounds unanswered, then I don't see a comeback coming in.
Yeah, that reset is so like if they win another round and get reset again, we're probably looking at like a 12-3 half.
Yeah.
Because it's just so hard to come back, and it's double eco territory, and it's just brutal. It just turns into an absolute mess. So Pulse has finally been fragged. He's done a very good job of just thinning the numbers late on in the rounds and containing London towards this site. So Link will try to desperately hold on to this AK-47, and who knows, that might make the difference to one tap in the next round. But Endpoint look firmly in control, very thorough and organized so far. That's looking pretty good for them. Robin's been a key player, and they've got an AWP now, Endpoint on the T side, so that may slow them down, ironically, when they've had so much success. But London are back on the buy. Astro on AWP. Well equipped are London. We'll see how aggressive they want to get.
I think it's part of Luzza trying to shut down Astro like even further as well. Didn't have a great game on Overpass. They don't want him to be able to take control of this one. I think yesterday against Fierce he was pretty damn solid. Seem to remember on Dust 2 especially. But yeah, like you mentioned, Pulse seems to be lurking here. Oh, Robin, that's pretty damn nasty. I feel like it's so dangerous for the CTs these days to move in. But that's a setup we saw from both teams quite commonly on Inferno, where you have like the one guy AWPing the stairs and the second guy is there to trade or to help out. So a pretty good read actually from Robin to get that. Stanley in on the flank though, going to catch off one. He doesn't quite get the second as Robin seems to have escaped, but only for a few seconds. Staving off the kill, but unfortunately not able to trade it back. Astro on the AWP as well to find Luzzo, who looked a little bit like a deer in headlights. Oh, they're lining up smokes here. Stanley in towards apartments, a little bit of a misread. Did Mighty Max expect Thomas to be watching his flank? I'm not entirely sure, but all kind of hope lost there, as it would seem Thomas now in a 1-on-4. Easier said than done. You just find the first, but they know where the bomb is. They know where he is. Going to be able to rotate one in towards A, one back at B. Endpoint might just have met their maker in this particular round. But yeah, a great little flank from Stanley. I'm not quite sure how he's able to get away with that. What, just like walking through mid and round? There's no one watching for that at all.
What are Thomas's intentions here? With 20 seconds left, he didn't know the status of the pit, which I think was a massive problem for him. Otherwise, he has a fair chance for at least one 1v1. And maybe a bomb plant. So after this kill, Stanley pulls his knife out, which is a bad habit. Could get you in trouble. So be careful with that. Both teams on the buy for this round. And now there are two snipers on London. So Eccles will be sniping towards the B bomb site as well. I think Solcas is holding a support flashbang from the Coffin's position. There we go. Maybe this will be a difference maker for them.
Possibly. I feel like the knife thing is sort of... It's kind of when you pick up a kill and you instantly reload, even though you don't need to. Like really bad habits.
A tick.
Yeah. But he gets away with it there. In some ways, maybe that's kind of worse, because if he's not punished, he's not going to learn. Ooh, Eccles doesn't quite find it. I suppose he gets the shot at the right time, but the flick not really there. As the crack angle being held, you know, no one punished in that situation. Just a little bit of pressure over towards Banana, again, to keep London guessing. Robin with the lineup. As the smoke will come raining in. A nice little flashbang as well to follow up. Blinds out Astro, and he's going to have to fall back. And the smoke that therefore follows, you know, makes things very difficult for him on that corner. There's a bit of a gap, but I don't think he's really going to be able to spot Luzza as yet. Maybe hear him in just a second, but it looks like short is where they want to be going. Nice little crossfire. It gets broken apart by the one smoke. They're not quite able to take down Link fast enough, though. He does only find one, however, and like I say, that AWP is solidly smoked out towards long. So this is actually a pretty damn good execute from Endpoint to, you know, break apart a very, very common crossfire that you see on that A site into a 4-on-3. 2 AWPs on the retake. London do not fancy their chances.
One quick point as well is that London, in all of the 4-buys they've had, so I haven't seen any sort of early round pressure on Banana. Endpoint can reliably just run defaults, going 3 Banana, 2 apartments every single round. And so again, that's like, I think it ties into the theme of what we've been seeing. There's just like not enough pressure from the CT side to kind of create a more difficult situation and more difficult decisions for Endpoint.
Like the bait attempt from Stanley, shooting through the smoke as the footsteps came through. Obviously, he might get a kill from that as well, but it just helps Link on the balcony. Just takes the eyes away a little more. I wondered if London would stick around the arch position more, although, of course, it is dangerous and the smokes were up, just to see if they could get an entry. Some people would, but I think it is it's positive to hold on to what they have. You can see some late buys coming in. The odd grenade. Link hasn't bought anything yet. Maybe just trying to keep the money together, although it is quite spread out. It's kind of weird. Solkers has 4,100. Going down to Link, he's got, or Eccles has got 850. So I feel like at that point, you might as well drop a rifle for your teammate, and the money will still be together. You still have like 1,000 to 2,000. So I think they could have got another weapon out of this. We've got 2 pistol players with no utility whatsoever. So I don't know. Maybe a timeout could have been taken just to figure out what exactly to do, because the team's there in 2 mines at this point. And now there's only 3 players remaining. Soulcast, though, didn't really check the corner properly initially. And I feel like that should have been a kill for him. 2 AWPs remaining. This is still very, very dangerous indeed. Eccles trying to delay now. He's got a gap in that smoke. That may encourage him to push through. Going for the pot shots. Endpoint take the site now. But in a 2 versus 2, surely London are going to go for this.
I'm going to go down momentarily, and yeah, with the kit available, I think that they definitely should at least try. Really weird economic situation for them as well, as we've kind of alluded to, so not easy. Nice little smoke comes in. Mighty Mac's going to try and play above it, though, as it's only going to buy a few seconds for the CT side. Stanley doesn't really capitalize all that much. They are really slowing down here as well. As the 2 AWPs, they want people to peek into them. Up close and personal is not really ideal. Oh, and Mighty Mac, surely that was the opportunity to take him down, but Luzza comes in with the contact peek, and Stanley and Eccles, not really sure of what they wanted to go for there. I mean, Stanley had like a CZ, he could have moved in quickly, and Eccles on the AWP in behind, but yeah, I'm not so sure about that one from London in general, because Astro, he picked up the first pick and then just gets a little bit greedy to try and find another, and once again, everybody across the map, because it was a bit of a weird round where they had some players bought and others not, they felt like they could play aggressively and not, you know, be as punished, so to speak.
I felt like it's been a bit interesting watching both the T sides on this map and Overpass. Endpoint seem to have a firm idea of how to approach the London setups. They've gone a number of rounds already in this game, 7 of them, in fact, and they've only been stopped twice, and so they're opening up the B-bomb side a little bit more now and showing a bit more presence on Banana, and London don't seem to be expecting that level of pressure in this game, and we saw similar things on B on Overpass.
Soulcast spent 1,700 on full armor and a Deagle in this round. He could have dropped an MP9 at the least in the previous rounds, rather than have like 3 people on full buys from the save and 2 guys with CZs and 0 utility. So I feel like that could have, that's a situation that could have easily been improved, as clearly that's money they didn't need necessarily, because you're going to buy together.
Yeah, it just seemed like he didn't have a plan for it either. He just kind of is holding an angle, gets taken down really early, so it's all in vain. Again, it's just those little things, especially when you're this far behind. Just sort of think about it. Figure what you want to do with those types of buys, or the lack of, rather than just being like, oh, I got a bit of extra money, I'll just spend it. Why not?
Anti-eco territory for Endpoint. We've seen them do good work before. This one is a little looser. Not quite a Mach 10 play from Robin there. He'll drop an AK to London Esports. Eccles dancing around the fountain. Provides good cover, but he won't be invulnerable. And now it's a question of trying to hold on to this AK, I suppose. So Endpoint are going to move to a 9-2 scoreline. Again, the AK-47's proving quite dominant. So they have got reset. I said if they got reset, London, we would probably be looking at a 13-2 scoreline. So now the challenge is on Endpoint to make it there.
Yeah, it's like, again, a really good T-half from them. Just the little things, like we kind of talked about the fundamentals and everything, just moving into that B site, first player, make sure to jump. He isn't greedy to try and get the frag. And that makes it difficult for the Deagle of Eccles to really find anything, because he's just fixated on that first player who would have walked into his crosshair had he not, you know, jumped over it.
Boom.
That's pretty nasty as well. Literally last second, Astro falls, so
Yeah,
would have been nice for him to drop the AK and stuff across.
Endpoint have done a good job of exploiting the holes in the defences of London. So we, for the most, I mean, we have some, not all the Molotovs in the world for the CT side, but we'll see if they choose to take Banana. They've got a 3-man investment towards B at the beginning of the round. But there are smokes on the half wall, nothing at the bottom of Banana. Endpoint will leave that for now. Once again, it is the motocross race up towards the A site, but Robin won't win his duel. That may slow things down.
Yeah, Stanley left on half HP, but again, he's a little bit of a smarter player, proactive player. Oh, Luzza, so very lucky. Soulcast, again, it's awkward, right? He just jumps the gun a little bit too early ahead of that smoke that they'd thrown towards the bottom of Banana. Bit too eager for it.
It's a cheap kill.
Yeah,
shouldn't be giving
exactly.
away cheap kills.
Exactly. Does seem the A-hold's pretty solid, though. Stanley gets another. Thomas does eventually deal with him, but advantage actually swinging back into contention as Mighty Max finding the head of Eccles. Link is still here in towards Pit, and they line up completely blind. Link manages to find the double spray down. Again, something maybe he shouldn't be getting away with, but certainly nice for the highlight reel.
Yeah, I don't know if we necessarily saw anything in that round from London that gives an indication that we'll see consistent round wins from them. Because we saw Robin race up towards Arch. He lost the 1v1. Then we had a 2-man spray done from a blind player towards the end there after giving away a free kill towards Banana. So I'm still quite concerned for London Esports. I think the 12-3 is still on for Endpoint. Now they're getting very aggro towards the B bomb site. It is a looser play from Endpoint, but they have position, which, I mean, hasn't been hard to get on Banana in the first place. Even the chicken will die.
RIP. But yeah, it's still, like you'd say, I suppose, sort of alluding to the fact that London have a little bit of luck on their side in that previous round. I do think Link is a pretty solid pit player as far as they go, but I suppose it's good that he worked on his spray control before coming into the game. A few DMs and stuff, and it really pays off. Yeah, this one seems to have slowed down a little bit. They were relying on that early pick in towards Banana. It doesn't come out for them. Robin seems to have swapped with Pulse a little bit as the lurker over on this A side of things. It's not quite going as well for him. They do drop Soulcast up on the boost, but a great flash comes in. Eccles only able to get one, though. Stanley aggressive through the smoke, not really waiting for his teammates. It was actually a 3-on-3, so definitely would have been doable for them. Retaking this B site when you've got, you know, one less man is so very difficult, especially on that AWP. They're just going to be hiding away, not looking to peek at all. Nice little lineup from Astro if it's able to come into fruition, however. Does seem it will. There you go. Pushes Pulse out of Dark, at least for now, but Link coming in from CT alongside Astro. It's not really going to work out as they just cannot connect the shots. Pulse gets the final 2 kills, so nice Molotov, I suppose, but it worked out in his favor as he's more in the open. and able to easily pick up the final 2 kills.
To smoke himself off and run for the hills, but never quite sure what the best play is there when you have limited information. And now they're back in Eco Town. London broke, barely got money for a pie in Greg's. Few HEs thrown, minimal damage done. No Mac 10 out for Endpoint in this round. They'll swap low player taking the AWP. Smart stuff from them, being as efficient as possible.
Bogdan Law in full effect.
I don't know any of this Bogdan stuff, to be honest with you. Like, I know some dude in America.
It was like there was this whole drama with like Steel or whatever, where they argued because you know, rank S or FPL, whatever it may be, and it was like Bogdan was like, "Give me the AWP." Steel was like, "No," and Bogdan said, "It's what all the pros do," and then it turned out he was right. You know, Steel was like, "No, I'm not giving you it. They don't do that." So I think it was more just a case of Bogdan's not very good or whatever. So
okay.
Steel was like, "I want to keep it," but it's
Yeah.
just kind of funny because he was right.
For me, it's just common sense.
Yeah,
I'll go
exactly.
with that. Common sense law. All right then, London. Can you get a 4th round on the board, or am I a prophet of some description with a 12-3 half? Doesn't give you much to fight with in the second half. A 4th round, it makes a hell of a difference. It's just 1 up from 3, but I feel like it has more significant implications than that. Of course, if you win the pistol, although pistols are not what they used to be. So we'll have to learn about that as we get more evidence of this new era of Counter-Strike. Link aggressive with the UMP in apartments. Got to be careful with those UMPs. The damage fall off kind of sucks these days. And again, Endpoint, I feel like they're playing loose because they just know they can abuse these players. They just know there's so many holes in the game that they'll just do things which they might not do against a team they respect more, to be quite honest. Now Link is, now the roles are reversed basically, and Endpoint are defending the A bomb site from London, who are trying to push, ironically. And they're left with Eccles on the M4. Maybe Solcas can find something to collect. He's moving through, no, that's actually Eccles moving through the apartment, so. Okay, he's got himself an AUG. There are 2 flashes on Eccles in the apartments, and Solcas will make his way round, holding a defuse kit as well.
Yeah, not in a great position to line up the flashes or anything, so that utility all for naught, really. And Robin finding the final kill on towards Solcas. So it seems you were right, 12-3. Very, very dominant T side. Endpoint, once again, picking apart London on their CT side of things. It's just kind of the little things, you know, Astro, he throws down the Molotov, that's kind of good, proactive, and staving off a push that he didn't expect them to be so far up, but then he pulls out a smoke afterwards. It's very, very risky because you can just get caught off. Even swapping between, you know, the nade and the rifle is kind of dangerous. So it's just sort of the little things. London don't quite look as clear-cut as they did yesterday.
They didn't win Banana 1 time, I think, in the entire half.
London?
Yeah.
I don't know if they actually tried.
They tried a couple of times, but
Apart from when they got shot
they
by
didn't,
your...
they didn't have a proper setup to really take it. If there was resistance, that's the problem.
Yeah, that's not... I mean, Inferno's probably... Well, Inferno is the most common map in the map pool, I think it's fair to say, in Pro CS, so... If you haven't got control of Banana properly, then that is very indicative of larger problems. But they're looking good in the T pistol so far, rotating the bomb towards B as the remainder of Endpoint make their way towards A. Stanley will get caught off by Pulse. Is that a clue as to what might be going on? Robin is very far away, just moving out of the pit position, so he gets his pistol around. Pulse can try and pop some heads if he gets an opportunity. There'll be a battle for construction. Not sure if you want to challenge Pulse, but you may have to. Link will win that duel. Now Robin with 3 HP. He's got the range of the P2000. Got to find a headshot, obviously. I think a smoke and a defuse would be too much to ask versus 40 bullets from Glocks. Slowing it down. He's got position on Link. Oh, he's got to be very careful. If only he would just stop moving around so much. Going for the defuse, drop the smoke, grenade, but Astro has the angle already. Did the best he could, but it wasn't enough.
Cruel from Astro as well. He just waits like a second. He knows that Robin has no option but to stay on the bomb. Yeah, this is kind of ultimately, I suppose it might switch now that they're on the T side, but this is one of the things that talking, you know, yesterday and things like that outside of game, trying to make quasi predictions and things. It's like London have this, they've made a bit of a name for themselves on Inferno in the UK scene, but as soon as they come up against a team where there is a strong structure to Endpoint, they seem to just fall flat. The one-track, aggressive, in-your-face style can really work out, but you know, when it doesn't, they have no other option, it would seem. And again, we were kind of talking about maybe bringing in Imi would make a bit of a difference, but he's not been there for too long. It would seem, at least at the moment, the CT sides really do need some work.
Yeah, that's a problem. You don't really know where you are until somebody punishes your mistakes.
Yeah,
and all
exactly.
of a sudden, you realize what the status quo is. Endpoint perhaps expecting an anti-eco rotation around the arch position. Will stack it with 3 players. However, London got their chess game on, moving towards short, clearing the pit more or less. Graveyard as well. And now, at this point, it might be worth Endpoint running away and just holding on to everything. They have a range disadvantage. They don't really have any positional advantage whatsoever. So with only 1 player lost at present, they can just do this all again in the next round, since they will be on eco anyway. And that's exactly what they've done. Very quick decision. No dilly-dallying from Endpoint, which I appreciate.
Yeah, again, it's keeping the constant pressure on when they're so far ahead. Just making London worry. I suppose they probably would have liked to do some economic damage here, because you don't want them to get off to too strong of a start in this second half. Again, as we saw on Overpass, it does seem these two teams are very, very T-sided at the moment, at least against each other. Mighty Max clean Luzzer as well to find Astro.
What is going on?
This is a fair amount of damage at the end, you know. They, I think, dropped one of the rifle players. They do manage to retrieve that SG, but it's a lot of cost, as you can see into this round here. You're going to have to move some weapons around and whatnot. And that gives a bit more of a chance to Endpoint, definitely in the next round, but maybe even in this one, as they've repurchased a little bit of utility. Look to maybe continue to do damage.
I would have liked to have seen a Mac 10. Unfortunately, Stanley jumps and blocks his teammate's Molotov. Awkward. But again, it's basically a rerun of the previous round. You get 2 kills, Mac 10 will pay for itself. But the AK may do the job. Counter smoke grenade, and Stanley will go straight through it. And that's the round again. And now there's a question of saving the Kevlar. Because again, it's not an ideal situation, though. If they can get to construction, they would be a lot closer. Lazarus picks up an AK-47. Maybe that will spur them on to try and go for this. But again, there's a lot of money to be saved here, so there is a decision to be made. But they will just keep running into the meat grinder, it seems. So, yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah,
I feel like there's a lot of money that you can save yourself, especially when you're at risk of the reset, which they've been doing to London in the first half. In my opinion, I probably would have saved there, because that's just probably, I don't know, good, probably $2,000 that you save for your team. But instead they get completely wiped out.
It's sort of the same as what we saw happen to London as well. They feel like they're so far ahead that it's okay.
But I feel like
that.
I think Endpoint feel like they have a general edge over London, which is maybe in individual skill, which is maybe why they feel compelled to do that, as opposed to just a score. But here we are, they will be on the buy. They've got the grenades out, could add some more if they save some more Kevlar, since only 2 players have helmets in this round. So that shows you the value that they were carrying towards the end of the last round. But here we are.
Very true.
Look at that, they've taken Banana. First buy round.
Yeah, London not really fancying it in general by the looks of things. Endpoint do have pretty solid Banana takes on CT side, though. You know, the great little Molotovs and the smokes and things that, again, a lot of the top teams would probably just consider fairly conventional. Not quite able to land the shots, though, early on. Oh, Paul's got to be so very careful. Gets that smoke out at the wrong time and just gets caught off guard again, not respecting how close that they could be. Into a 4-on-3 with that B bomb site in the hands of London. I think it might just be another save situation. No kits available. No one getting cheeky on the London side to allow a chance for Endpoint to get back into the round. Yeah, and it's just another kind of quick hit. We saw, I mean, Max and Pulse were incredible yesterday on that B hold, but immediately off the bat on the CT side, they have fallen at the first hurdle, it would appear.
Maybe there's some miscommunication or sort of they weren't on the same page with how they wanted to play it, because sort of the deep banana smoke sort of diminished, and it seemed unclear as to whether they would re-smoke it or if they would sort of play close again, because we saw the peak coming in after the smoke had dissipated, as opposed to maybe re-smoking it, then taking full control, or falling back and then waiting for a contact, then smoking it and playing together. So it seemed a bit disjointed there as to what they were really going for, because otherwise I felt like that was the start of something really good, as James mentioned. Straight away Endpoint go for a banana take, and you can see straight away what happens is London have to deal with that, and I think Endpoint could have played that to a net benefit.
To me, it seemed like because they had limited utility, they were being greedy and wanted to hold on to their smoke for later in case they had to counter smoke in front of the site, but at the same time wanted to peek banana and hold it without the smoke. So it seems they wanted everything, which you can't really necessarily have, and they were punished for that. But they will buy around the weapons they saved, so did a good job of holding on to things. Dan leaves. Oh dear, down 7 HP, and there are more HEs to come. It's always awkward when you get trapped between those two Molotovs. Often happens, and that is a free win for Endpoint at the beginning of this round.
Yeah, didn't quite respect how much damage it was doing to him, and I think a lot of sound cues came in for Endpoint, so yeah, the nades easily able to clean it up, give them an early advantage, a little bit more successful on the banana control, and again, seems to have learnt from their mistakes in the previous round. They pick up that first kill and just back away pretty solidly. They're okay now to give away banana control, as they obviously have a much more firm advantage, and they set up a little bit of a bait setup here. Pulse, the ideal scenario, he maybe gets one himself and then is able to back away, and they're a little bit more focused on him rather than where Max is going to be. Nice smoke comes in once again, the counter smoke, so just hold back the push for a little while. Flash going to come through, doesn't blind up anybody. Mighty Max up high, only able to get one, as Pulse is sat firmly behind him now, as the smokes had come in towards Coffins and caught off with a nade yet again. It will be a 3-on-3 retake for Endpoint. Luzza is here fairly quickly, but they're already in the post plants that they want to be in. And again, I don't think it's looking too good. Fair amount of utility for Robin though, but there's no kits available. Endpoint firmly locks out of this B site.
Well, Luzza's position in construction is very, very important. He's got pretty much half the site covered. Robin starting to close in. They know where the last two players are now. It's about winning these duels, going deep, but he can't get that one. And now it's time for Luzza to fall away. So he'll have to fight his way out, it seems, trying to avoid a double peek. But Astro's got the angle. And there it is for London. Bursting through that smoke, I don't think Endpoint were expecting that, and it proved to be very expensive indeed.
I think catching them solidly off guard as well. Pulse is like, where do I go? Mighty Max, I think it might actually have screwed him a little. I feel like he got that first kill and then tried to back away, but Pulse was under him, so he just stayed elevated, I think, which is a little bit peculiar to deal with. But yeah, this though is a lot better from Endpoint, right? London gave far too much control, in my opinion, in terms of the timeouts and things to Endpoint, and waited until it was within one round where, like I said, Imi was kind of praised for his good timing on pauses, but didn't seem to pull it into fruition on the previous map, whereas Endpoint here are doing the opposite. There's 4 rounds, there's still a fair amount of cushion, and they've had a little bit of a timeout. And now, a forced buy round, so they've got a great deal of time to just talk things over, figure out how they're going to win one round, and just get back into the groove of things on this CT half. So a lot more respect from them for their opponents, I feel.
Not quite working out for Thomas. Some damage done though. Maybe that will be capitalized on later. 4 smoke grenades for Endpoints. You see Robin just shoulder peeking, not really looking to fight to the death, just looking for information. And there's a free kill for Luzza. Nobody watching the arch position. It took the Molotov for a brick wall, but as you can see, there was plenty of space behind it. Is he going to walk through the smoke? He's on the corner of it. Maybe he's tempted. London now falling back after that frag. They still have player on Banana. Mighty Max is there with a counter smoke of his own. That's the last smoke for Endpoint. Do they stack behind it? We've got Pulse moving up the speedway position, but London are moving into the site, and Mighty Max is standing in the smoke. There's one, there's two. Now there's a man advantage for Endpoint, and someone for London's got to plant the bomb, and there'll be a burst through the smoke with a flashbang, but Pulse is blind as well. That could have been around right there. 29 seconds now, and Astro will commit to the bomb plant.
That's so very awkward for Pulse. Oh, looking the wrong way yet again, but Astro with the spin around, able to pick up Robin. Luzza now the only one remaining on that AK. Could have been a bit of a difference maker, but once again, the CT side just allowing the 1 versus 1s to come in a little bit too easily for London. Oh, and he just doesn't check his corners. It takes a while for Eccles, to be fair, to drop him, but a 3K coming in from him. London saved that round from the depths of defeat, rather. It did look a little bit dicey for a second.
But what if Pulse was not looking into the flash?
Yeah, I know, right?
what if he was looking away from the flash?
That's so awkward. Like, did he expect it behind him or whatever? It
Maybe
just,
maybe towards
I don't know.
Banana a bit.
Yeah, it just completely blinded him.
2 AWPs for Endpoint, Luzza and Pulse. I remember Pulse as a sniper. He will be with Mighty Max towards Banana. Plenty of grenades being thrown. A quick jump peek there. Pulse trying to get into position, not quite working out for him. And Stanley will continue to pursue. He's got a trade fragger in tow as well. Pulse taken out immediately. The bomb not committing. London are still holding for a rotation towards the A site at this point, really. Second player's made his way over. And now Stanley's trying to cause as much mayhem as possible. In that pull position, crouching, you can't be seen, smoking off CT. And again, the bomb still hasn't been committed just yet. Astro in situ around the apartments of A, looking for a reaction. But it's only Luzza towards the B bomb site, standing in a smoke. So, yeah, it seems they will give this one up. I was wondering, not really committing the team in either direction. So it was a volatile play, but they'll give up on this one. And it seems that London will take it to 10.
Yeah, Max really panicking there on the B side. I think he expected a lot more players to be around, and he was sort of jumping, trying to spot for info. Stanley plays it well to just hide for a second and make the kill as easy as possible, really, and secure it from there. So yeah, it's a bit of an odd kind of play from London. Again, maybe slightly scrimmy from them, that they just send a couple players in, and then instead of, you know, slowing things down after the initial pick, they follow up with the kill that they'd got, even though the rest of the team was so far away. Just really threw Endpoint for a loop by the looks of things. And now it is starting to look a little bit dicey, kind of deja vu from that first map. Need to find a CT round, and soon. Otherwise, London are just going to have so much momentum, so much money, that Endpoint find themselves solidly on the back foot for the rest of this game. Kind of interesting to see. These CT sides really do need some work, and I think for the most part, against a lot of the teams that they've been playing in the OMEN UK Open and, you know, in other leagues and things, I would say these two teams have pretty solid CT sides most of the time. It just seems they're kind of each other's kryptonite.
Well, they've brought around what they have, which is better than we saw from London with their use of money. So their utility's not fantastic, Endpoint, but I expect when they have a full buy to get the mollies out, the HEs towards a tree position, and then they can take these angles more comfortably around the old car spot, and they start to move down. In the meantime, Luzza will be raw peaks. He must have strafed before shooting because he completely whiffs the shot.
Yeah,
Sees one player moving around the arch position now. We've got Robin moving into the library, but Stanley appears to be on the flank, but he's heard Mighty Max as well. I don't think he's been spotted though, but he may be giving some sound cues away, or apparently not.
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward there. Luzza does manage to back away. It's kind of how he classically plays things, but unfortunately the rest of the team just falling down so very quickly. Thomas is able to pick a 1, but it's just easy pickings coming in from London. Once again, Endpoint really hit a brick wall here. They just don't know what to do on the CT side, and it's very peculiar to see so much orange across the top. Or I guess kind of a yellowy tint to it, but yeah, the CT sides, I don't know, and it just seems almost too easy as well for London. A little bit of utility. Stanley somehow is able to make it up long, and then the rest of the team just pounce off of his distraction, you know, pulling everybody away from the true crux of the attack. And they're just easily able to line up the shots because they've been given so much room. It's just very peculiar to see.
One of the things about banana control as well, and you know why it's so prevalent, I would say, is that it does make things a lot easier for the CTs. You'll see a lot of teams who they may not have the best overall understanding at the top level of Inferno, but what they'll be able to do is some basic setups around that sort of condition of, if you win banana, you can have a couple of choices, whether you play 2 players deep or whether you decide to either leave 1 player there and cheat someone over to A. If you're not sort of able to hold A correctly or make the right information plays, that's a really easy and safe way to do it, which is pretty reliable. But it seems like, again, Endpoint, they don't quite know exactly how to play off of the banana control that they're getting from time to time, and I think that's something that they could look at from other top teams and how they play the CT sides.
Squeezing out another buy Endpoint, and they'll start with 3 towards B. So it seems there are intentions with what limited grenades they have to take banana. Astra moving up very quickly indeed. Just a smoke at the half wall. 1 player spotted falling back. That's the economical way to do it. Astro trying to see if anybody's behind the smoke holding an angle. Stanley's just going to walk through the smoke. No flash. Just creeping through. I guess they saw the player fall back and they read that no one was here. So it will be early map control towards B for London. A smoke out. They've got plenty of smokes in the hole, so I think this is more to bait the early utility from Endpoint. And again, they don't really have so much, so these will be they'll have a higher implied expense for Endpoint since there's not much in the hole.
I think Stanley likes to go for the very unorthodox timing plays as well. You talk about him walking through the smoke. I think he was hoping to catch someone off guard with that. He did it last round as well. Just likes to catch people off guard by maybe the rest of his team make a load of noise, he doesn't make any at all, and then he just moves in a few seconds later to catch someone with a nade or, you know, turned around walking away. It does seem to be a bit of a problem for Endpoint in some of these rounds. Nature of Inferno, of course, it's so very difficult when you have no information to work with. They have no idea where these Ts are, at least initially, but all the smoke's going to come over the top. So much utility being used, but they're ahead of it on the T side. Mighty Max in such an odd position. He looks towards Nubox to cross back in, but unfortunately cannot. Fair amount of damage done, so his 3v3 could very quickly swing the other way. Soulcast getting absolutely melted, and Robin will drop him through the smoke. That bomb going to go down.
Oh my god, he's faking it, but he doesn't have time to plant the bomb now. He's got to go for elimination. There were 10 seconds on the clock when the 3rd player was trying to plant the bomb. Once he was dropped bombs in the smoke, absolutely disastrous. As soon as he fakes, he can't win the round anymore. Going for damage, I suppose, because there's plenty of money for London. So I suppose that became the priority. And now this is a situation. Endpoint with a marginally better buy. They've got more utility than they had in the round prior. The UMP will continue. And finally, they win a CT round.
Yeah, the greatest enemy, of course, always time. It's just that one Molotov, I think, came in from Luzza, to be fair. Just pushes Soulcast in A, into an awkward position, and B, you know, chunks him down a fair amount. So, Endpoint, a little bit of luck on their side to win their first round on the CT end of things, but we'll have to see. You know, again, it's a question of consistency. Can they keep it up? They survive with a fair amount, so it's just Max on the SMG yet again. Luzza, of course, comfortable on the AWP, but London, it could, in theory, work out for them if they're able to cleanly take this one. Bit of a different setup coming in from the Endpoint boys, though, with Thomas up top. Very dangerous, can be very devastating spot, or it can really be detrimental. And there it is. The one flash comes in, he has to run away. At the very least, we'll be able to survive, but the spot's not very effective at all. Great crack angle from Robin to find Stanley as the opening pick goes the way of Endpoint.
Eccles still lurking towards B. Still exhausting utility for Endpoint, but walking into a sniper on A. Not recommended. Health warning for that. Another look from Luzza, but he's been smoked off. Not sure how It looks like there could be a gap. I don't know if he can abuse it from close range, but they can abuse a two-man advantage. Eccles still trying to open the B bomb site. He's got one player in the red. Now Pulse is dead. We've got Mighty Max at first oranges. Again, just trying to buy time as much as possible. That's one way to do it. Headshot onto Eccles. Last two players here. And again, he's just bought a few extra seconds for the CTs to rotate in.
So very close on that plant yet again from London. Really, really pulling it close to the wire in these past few rounds. This time it does kind of work out for them. They don't get that awkward kill that comes in to stop things. Link with a great hold on that angle. Takes down Robin, but they push in to find him. It's all onto Astro, and Luz has already trained on the angle to take him down. It will be a 14th round for Endpoint. They finally managed to string a few together on this CT side. It's looking really good. Obviously, after that very, very dominant first half, London are now, you know, kind of realizing yet again how we are actually on the losing side of this game.
Still plenty of money for London Esports. Not too late to turn this around. If Endpoint lose one round, they're going to be broke. That's been the case for the last two rounds. They'll continue with the second AWP collected at the end of the round prior. No UMPs on this occasion, and they've got even more grenades. So the buys are slightly improving for Endpoint as they move into the dying rounds of map number 2. Once again, if you are just joining us, as you can see at the top, Endpoint are 1-0 up in this best of 5. Not too far away from a 2-0. The boost will work eventually for London. Will there be a peek? I wouldn't expect one without a flashbang over the top, but Endpoint are in no position to go for a peek. Again, Eccles with an early smoke, just trying to bait a reaction from Endpoint. Very unlikely that they're actually going to execute with this kind of timing. But he will continue to... Where did that go? Okay.
Just took a while.
It went into space, went through a portal, and then came back and actually landed. That was really weird. That was very strange. But anyway, with that, there will be no more lurker towards B. It's a 5-man push towards A.
As you can see, though, it has worked a little bit effectively. They've drawn a rotation away. We'll see how the remaining 2 A site players hold things down. Robin, they line up, but he's not quite able to convert the sprays. But I'm going to go down here on towards A. It's a 3-on-3. Double AWP, though, on the retake. Never really ideal, especially on this A site of Inferno. You know, the angles that they're going to be coming in from at B are so easily smoked off. There's still one remaining for Link to buy even more time. So Mighty Max on this flank, if they are truly going to go for this, is going to have to go huge from apartments. Nice little crossfire in on the site as well. Not really great. Molotov pushes them into some awkward spots. Missed shot comes in from Astro, however, and that allows them just the chance to get in that they needed. He's on the CZ, and Mighty Max will find him. That's so very awkward. They will be able to just get the defuse, I think. Oh, it's so very close towards the end. Endpoint managed to secure the match point, but the one missed shot from Astro really makes the difference there.
Yeah, that's got to be really, really frustrating. And indeed, Endpoint make it to game point in this best of 5, looking to go 2-0 up. A second defuse in a row from them, and their buys will continue. We'll see what the case is for Thomas. I guess Luz will drop him an M4. Marvellous stuff. So, London, last chance saloon. You've got to win 4 in a row now. Otherwise, you are going to be in the proverbial bin. 0-2 down. Another timeout from Endpoint. We're in the closing stages, lad. No mistakes. Let's play the winning game. Again, more grenades. They can have a better hold of Banana. More Molotovs should they want it, although they seem to be comfortable with the smoke on the half wall, but I see Pulse has a Molotov in his hand. Or an incendiary for the pedantic.
Indeed.
So there goes the flame carpet. And Flashbang will force him off the angle. Oh, the cheeky peek on top. We love to see that.
Yeah, they did it yesterday as well. It really worked out in that situation. It's great. Kind of read the fact that there's the 2 Molotovs in towards Banana. They know there's going to be no one there. Probably someone peeking from T-stairs just to hold off and see if there's going to be any aggression down middle. So once again, it's Endpoint working really well with each other across the map, and that boost is just it's quite a hard one because you have to watch below. No one's feasibly going to watch that high because it's just not that common. And the speed that you would need to react at is so difficult. Secondary AWP over towards B here from Pulse. Manages to take down Eccles while blinded as well. Third coming in for him as he's just cleaning up. Mighty Max there to pick up one of his own. But a 16-11 scoreline. Endpoint are 2-0 up in this series. It's certainly been competitive. The T side so very dominant from both teams, but Endpoint just able to pick themselves up towards the end of that one.
It seems to me that Endpoint were definitely the better team on Inferno. London were very exploitable on their CT side, many holes in their defenses, and Endpoint took all of those in kind. Thank you very much. We'll exploit all of those things and string all these rounds together. A late comeback attempt from London, but again, I think there's just too many issues on their CT side to overcome with a catch-up game in the second half.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult, really. I think there are some very big issues on that London side, sort of what we'd alluded to a little bit earlier. Just the fact that some great fraggers, just the strategical depth not really there. When they hit that wall, they just cannot get over it at all. And Endpoint, like you say, just easily going to be able to abuse that.
I think both these teams really struggled on their CT side. The holes in the London side on the A side, and then Endpoint on the B-bomb side seem to be the favorites for each of the teams.
Yeah, these are the scores on the doors. For London, it was Stanley leading the charge. Dom didn't have the best time of things with 8 kills, but on the other side of things, I mean, it was pretty much a perfect average from Endpoint, everybody delivering in equal measure, but Pulse slightly leading there.